I enjoy others singing karaoke, but no, I don't partake in much of that. Maybe my head.
I just feel the same feeling. So it's great that it's finally May, it's finally happening, and I couldn't be more excited.
When I show up to a NASCAR race, I want it to feel NASCAR. And when I go to a Formula One race, I sort of know what I'm getting into. I want it to feel Formula One. And I hope people have a sense of what an IndyCar race is.
I mean, you guys know my dad, right? He's kind of a hard ass. And so he'd get in my face. I'm 6, 7 years old, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
You can often try again.
Freak Radio Network, broadcasting from the Lucas Oil Studios. Driven by General Tire.
Rock on, baby!
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
Freak Nation, if you caught that open, you see two of the world's greatest race car drivers, and we're going to help you determine who's the best between Alex Palou and Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson with his third win of the season, the NASCAR Cup Series, and Alex Palou with his how many wins there, Crash Gladys, hanging out in Indianapolis?
Talking about on the season?
Yes.
4 out of the first 5 races. Last time that was done, 2005, Mr. Daniel C. Weldon.
When you're hearing comparisons of Alex Palou to A.J. Foyt and Unser and Andretti and everybody else that's kicked ass in open wheel at such a young age, what you're not hearing with Kyle Larson, you're not hearing Kyle Larson being compared to the Richard Pettys, to the Yarboroughs, to the Allisons just yet, or the Jimmy Johnsons. But you still hear people like Cole Cusimano and his right side buddy.
Okay, hello.
I almost went into something really silly there. Cole Cusimano's buddy, Cody, claiming that Kyle Larson's already, he's only won one championship, yet you bastards continue to say he's the GOAT.
It's kind of a running joke now with Richie, honestly, but you got to admit, he has got to be the baddest man on 4 wheels. Come on.
He's got to be the best what?
The baddest man on 4 wheels.
The baddest?
Baddest. The baddest. I got the New York accent in there, sorry. The baddest. The baddest.
So yeah, that's... You got to bring Kenny's Texas twang in there. Baddest.
So that's where we're going in this next 2 hours extravaganza, man. We're going to try to decipher English between at least 2 out of the 4 of us here in the Freak Nation. Be sure you follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram. We are live on YouTube, Facebook Live. And then if you missed any of the show, you can catch us tomorrow on the Racer Network, 12 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. We're going to hear from Kyle Larson coming up in moments. We're also going to hear from Alex Palou. We're also going to hear from Joseph Newgarden and a gentleman who we said this Wednesday, who I would have no problem with this guy winning his ass off. I'm talking about Harrison Burton, who was in the playoffs last year for the 2024 Cup Series, was booted out of his ride. What's he do now? Well, he goes into the Xfinity Series and kicks some ass with AM Racing, sitting in the top 10 in points. He's going to join us here in the Freak Nation because of Full Speed, which debuted last week on Netflix. He's part of that as they follow the 2024 playoff season in the NASCAR Cup Series. Again, Kyle Larson, 3 wins of the season. Christopher Bell, 3 wins of the season. Denny Hamlin, 2 wins in the season. Richie, Cole, Crasher, what about all this G-Dam parody they keep talking about when Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson have half the wins for the 2025 season? Anybody?
Cole Cusimano called this out a month or so ago. Mm-hmm. The series that has parity right now is the NHRA, and it's in the NHRA Top Fuel class. When did you ever have that on your bingo card, that parity would be greater in drag racing than any other, well, drag racing at the top fuel level,
right,
than any other motorsport? Whoa. Almost as crazy as the Pacer score tonight. It's just,
oof,
whoa.
That's rough. Yeah, no, I mean, I was actually saying this a month or two ago, too, that I feel like maybe with this next-gen car, it's the 4th season now, Teams are catching on to it. Drivers are catching on to the tendencies of how they race, and that's why you're seeing more multi-race winners. Like you said, Kyle Larson now has 3. Christopher Bell has 3. You got Denny Hamlin and William Byron with 2 each. So it could be just the field catching up to it.
Richard C. Suave, when you have a guy like Kyle Larson that looks like he's figured this freaking car out, and I know where Richie's going to go, still hasn't won at Super Speedway. Let's just leave that aside there, Richard C. But when you got a guy that's starting to figure out this next-gen car like Kyle Larson, okay, he's already figured the damn thing out. Is there anything else that NASCAR could do other than throwing those ghost cautions that they did 15 years ago to stop a run like this and provide us some entertainment on the track for those that are on agreement that we thought this was an average race?
So I missed the portion of Holler Talk this week, surprisingly, where Mike Ford mentioned that there is a horsepower increase that's on the table that they might do at some point, whether that's later this year or next year. He didn't really specify, but he's like, oh, yeah, it's on the table. We're talking about it. And I wonder if that isn't the first thing that you change, and maybe things kind of liven up a little bit in terms of that parity, which we loved so much during the first 3 years of this next-gen car, right? Yeah. Even last year. I would say even last year we got a really great season out of that Gen 7 car last year. And then for whatever reason, 2025 has just fallen off a cliff. And now that I think seemingly everybody's kind of caught up, and they've taken this car as far as it can go now. And it's up to NASCAR to make the changes. And I don't know if they're going to do that anytime soon. It's unfortunate.
Gee, what does that sound like? They've taken this car as far as they can, and now it's time for changes. Oh, wow. Sounds like IndyCar. It's crazy to me. Both of these series have a bit of a sled problem, just too heavy, need some issues, need some changes with the tires, need more horsepower. The similarities here are crazy. And what we're also seeing as a result is the fan bases are going just as nuts because of, what's the word I'm looking for? These big pieces of weight that they are driving around that are just crap, just plain crap. So yeah, it's both series have a lot of issues going on, and changes needed yesterday.
Cole, you have Alex Palou, that is, and again, we're going to get to Crasher's mic issues. We understand that she's got a mic issue across StreamYard and YouTube. We'll correct those here momentarily. But Cole Cusimano, when you look at a guy like Alex Palou, who has 4 out of the last 5 wins, dominating, you got a guy like Kyle Larson dominating in the Cup Series. Something's got to break, or something's got to give in the comparisons of these two series, because when you have people that follow it for us, okay, we follow these series for a reason, because they're, for the most part, they are entertaining. But when you have domination by 1 or 2 teams in a series, it's not good. It's not a good look for 1, and 2, it shuts out all those other folks that are rooting for those other drivers that can't seem to even sniff a freaking win. You follow me?
I definitely follow you. I mean, I'm somebody that kind of appreciates the dominance now, just being around the sport for so long and racing for so long. But I definitely agree with the general message that parity is a good thing for any series of racing, or any sport for that matter, because you want to see different teams, different players come to the forefront and be contenders. So it's something that I appreciate, but I know as a collective whole, it's not very welcomed by a lot of people.
No, when you have something like this, when you have guys running away with it, and okay, pump the brakes a little bit on Kyle Larson. He's not running away with it, all right? Mm-hmm. He's got 3 wins.
He did today. That's it.
Yeah. He's not running away with the series. Alex Palou is running freaking away with it. I think he's 95 points ahead of second place, which in IndyCar is 3 or 4 races. This dude could set out the Indy 500, Detroit, and St. Louis, and still in 4 races be in the lead with his domination. That's just fugly, as the kids like to say. But with Kyle Larson, you just shut off another set of fans. You know what? Maybe I've got the battle going on inside my head, because Kyle Larson is so freaking popular. I get it. I understand that. This isn't like Chris Buescher. It's not a Brad Keselowski. Mm-hmm. It's Kyle Larson that is so freaking popular that maybe it's just me that has some of that problem of Kyle Larson's dominance. Because, Crasher, we had this conversation. Richie, do we have our mic figured out yet?
It's just coming a little low.
Okay.
So we're okay across the Freak Radio Network. We'll
Okay.
fix it during the break. We only got a minute
Got it.
in this segment, so.
All right, Crasher, it's what we've talked about. We're going to have to break here in about a minute and a half. It's what we've talked about with Jimmy Johnson, where we just wanted to sit back and watch greatness while others complained about Jimmy Johnson being so vanilla and not out there raising hell like a dominant championship contender or champion does. And I guess it's the same effect with Kyle Larson. He's not an a-hole, right? He's not pissing people off.
He's not an a-hole. Kyle Larson speaks his mind still, though, which is much appreciated. But you're right. Overall, more often than not, he doesn't make people angry. And the same with Alex Palou. These are nice guys with complete domination and more talent in their pinky than I have in my entire body. We should figure out a way to appreciate this. If you're not one of those that already does, because this kind of domination, at least by Alex Palou, it's not very common. And who knows when this may happen again. And we were saying these exact same things in Jimmy Johnson's 5 consecutive championships. Absolutely.
Freak Nation, coming up, we're going to hear from Kyle Larson, your race winner from Kansas here in the Freak Nation. Also coming up, Joseph Newgarden will be joining us here in the Freak Nation. And Alex Palou. And did I say? Yes, I did earlier. Harrison Burton will be here in the Freak Nation. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Cody, coming up in about 20 seconds, we're going to be going to a break. Cody back there behind the board making us look so fine and pretty. Thank you very much, Cody, for doing this thing. Freak Nation, this segment brought to you by good friends at Lucas Oil. A great website to check out is lucasoil.com. That's lucasoil.com to find a line of products to keep your motorcycle, your speedboat, that big old 67 Mustang you got out in the garage, on the road, fat and happy. Go to lucasoil.com. Kyle Larson with his 3rd win of the 2025 season. Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, both those dudes have half the race wins for 2025. And Cole Cusimano, we've got the post-race press conference with Kyle Larson and some highlights from that press conference.
That's right, yeah. So Bob Pockris naturally kicked it off, and he asked, Kyle Larson, he raced high limit this past weekend, got into a pretty nasty wreck. A couple weeks before that, he also wrecked in his IndyCar on-track action, and yet he now has 4 straight top 5 finishes with 2 wins in that span. Here's what he had to say about not being fazed by all these wrecks in extracurricular racing.
I don't know. Maybe I've hit stuff enough. I have a short memory. My memory's faded, but I don't know. I do think it's because I race a lot. I'm guessing. I would say that's a big part of, me being able to move on quickly from things, whether it's a good race or a bad race or a wreck or good result, bad result, whatever. Mistakes on track. Obviously, though, if it happens multiple times in a row, it can kind of linger a little bit longer, but more so just hurt your confidence a little bit. But I don't know. I think I just race a lot, so it probably helps.
Yeah. Let's go back to a 4-shot, Cody. Following that conversation up with Kyle Larson talking about, maybe I just wreck a lot, short memory. I can't imagine being Rick Hendrick, billion-dollar businessman, and so much is hanging on what Kyle Larson does. He says S like that. And he watches Kyle Larson figuratively is a billion-dollar product because it represents Hendrick Motorsports and HendrickCars.com. Mm-hmm. And when you see your freaking billion-dollar bill flipping on the backstretch of a dirt track somewhere in the middle of America, and we laugh, but what that could injuring. I get it. I get why Joe Gibbs said no to this driver, no to that driver running dirt, because so much is invested in you. Mm-hmm. But Kyle Larson is just a different freaking breed than it. Kyle Larson would quit Cup if he couldn't run dirt, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I get your concerns because his teammate Alex Bowman got into a nasty sprint car wreck and obviously was sidelined with injuries. So, but what we've seen is that when he gets the extracurricular on-track activity, whether it be IndyCar, sprint car racing, it translates really well to Sundays. And we saw that front and center once again this Sunday at Kansas, put on an absolute clinic, passed the 10,000 laps led mark, joining Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch as the only 3 active drivers in that category now.
Wow.
60% of those laps led came when he moved to Hendrick Motorsports, and he's also now tied with Dale Jarrett in all-time wins with 32. Here is Kyle Larson on what makes him and Cliff Daniels' rapport work so well together.
I trust that nobody works harder than Cliff and the 5 team, and I think, he knows that although I'm not at the shop all the time, that's me. He's trusting me that I'm working to be the best race car driver I can be, and allowing me to go race all the time and be as crazy busy as I am is only going to benefit us on the weekends. So, yeah, it's been pretty amazing since 2021 and joining the 5 team, all the success we've had and all of that. So, yeah, to surpass 10,000 laps is really cool, honestly. And they said that we've led the most laps at Kansas Speedway now. So, yeah, really cool day.
Can I sue NASCAR to get a better PA system or better connection for their press conference? That is just that audio.
It's like a submarine or something.
Damn.
I just want to know why they're seated in such a way. Cole, have you gone to Kansas before? Because they look like they're having a therapy session. And like, hi, my name's Kyle Larson. I'm a raceaholic. I'm here for therapy.
Accurate. That's very accurate. Raceaholic.
Actually, can I follow up on something that you were just talking about? Kenny, and it reminded me of something. To go across sports, and so it's going to be a little bit different. But there's a reason we have never seen a 2-sport athlete in any other sports, in any other professional sports outside of Kyle Larson. Granted, it's just different disciplines, but like since Deion Sanders, really, in the late 90s, when he was playing baseball and football at the same time, right? And that would never happen again now. Would never happen again because of the liability of your – Showtime is a $1 billion athlete right now, right? Juan Soto, nearly a $1 billion athlete.
Yes, sir.
Kyler Murray, hundreds of millions of dollars invested in that quarterback, and he was drafted into Major League Baseball, and he will never see the light of day in Major League Baseball because of that. So, like, you compare it to other sports, and the fact that we get to see Kyle in so many different disciplines is pretty crazy. It really is. When you put it into that kind of perspective of, like, there's so much at stake when he hops into something that isn't his actual, like, job on every Sunday. That's wild.
Freak Nation, coming up in moments, another gentleman chasing history. It's Alex Palou, who's won 4 out of the last 5, the first 5 races for the IndyCar series. He'll be joining us coming up next segment. Go ahead. Got one more soundbite?
I've got 2, actually.
All right. Well, let's get to one at least.
All right. Well, back to what we were talking about earlier and the lack of parity in the Cup Series now at this current car. This is the fastest Kyle Larson's gotten to 3 wins in his career in the Cup Series, and here is why he feels that.
I just think the next-gen car, hasn't changed really since it's come out, and I think every team's kind of narrowing in on their setups, and we're no different. So, you learn the car, you learn the style, you just become better, especially when you are up front and leading laps, you learn how to lead a race, you learn how to execute all the little details. So, I just think, the time and experience with the next-gen car is probably helping, the success early on in the year.
I like what he said there. He says, he's basically saying, Rick Hendrick and his $1 billion and me, we have figured this GDAM car out while all you other slouchers are back there sucking hind boob, wishing you could be as good as we could. And I'm being a little flippant there. I think it sucks because a guy like Chris Buescher, who has plenty of skills, it's just not in the best equipment. Anybody want to argue with that?
No, that's exactly right. But it's that way in all motorsports, right?
Yeah.
It's that way in Formula One. It's that way in IndyCar. It's that way in drag racing. You are with one of the top teams, you will consistently be up front more. Will it always translate to wins? Not necessarily, but it's money. That's basically the bottom line of motorsports.
That was so good about this next-gen car for those first few years. It was the complete opposite, where we were seeing Trackhouse Racing in their sophomore season in 2022 put Roush Chastain into the championship Final Four, right? And that will not even be close to happening this year, right? You're going to get Hendrick, you're going to get Penske, and maybe you're going to get a Toyota in there, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Like we just know we can book it in, and it's a shame that that's what we're talking about now, as opposed to how great this next gen car was.
Are we going to get 16 winners?
No
way.
chance.
No way.
Ooh, interesting.
Think about this.
Okay.
In this era as my, where are you from? New
Staten
York.
Island, New York, baby.
Yeah, where am I, New York? I don't know what kind of accent. Front row, Furniture Row and Martin Truex Jr. winning that championship. We will never see that again. A team that's based in freaking Colorado coming out and beating at the time, the Jack Roush's, the Hendricks, the Gibbs, the Ganassis, RCR. We'll just never see that again. And I think whoever said it, Richie, you, Crasher, I just think we're ready to move on to another car. We are so ready.
Yep.
Major League Baseball, National Football League, NBA to a degree, they come up with new rules to change their game. And something has to be done with this GDAM car because, for one, there are at least 3 out of 4 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know what Crasher thinks, but 3 out of 4 people that are in this studio that thinks today's race was average at best. Cole Cusimano.
Shorten the dang races, too, while you're at it. That's a whole other conversation. We can get to that conversation later.
Right.
Shorten them? Is that what you said? Yes, I
Shorten them.
agree.
Yes.
Something's got to happen. Something. And I'm seeing some of our comments, don't be the old man. Don't be the grumpy old man. I'm not being the grumpy old man. I would be bitching about this 30 years ago. Damn it. If this was happening. If I was watching NASCAR like I do now 30 years ago, I wasn't. It was two-wheel, it was drag racing for me, and it was chasing the opposite sex. That's what I would do on Sundays. Sorry. A little sideline there. It's okay. Is that uncomfortable, Cole?
No, not at all.
You all right?
I agree. It's good. It's good stuff.
Freak Nation, going to call an audible. Let's go one more segment with this, okay? We're going to get into who's better, Alex Palou or Kyle Larson. That's next. SpeedFreaks Pits, Lucas Oil Studios. Hit it.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
General Tire has launched a comprehensive Shield Plus Advantage plan for passenger and light truck tires. What that means for you is when you purchase General Tires, the Shield Plus Advantage plan lets you enjoy a complete package of multiple warranties and coverage to get the most from your tires. The plan applies to all General Tire passenger and light truck tires purchased as replacements in the U.S. and Canada with DOT serial numbers. For more information, hit them up on GeneralTire.com. General Tire, the official tire of Speed Freaks for 2 decades.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 16th through the 26th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Keeping your pride and joy perfect is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Start with Slick Mist Speed Wax. Simply mist on and wipe off for a professional detail or shine. For your tires and trim, there's Lucas Slick Mist Tire and Trim Shine. Spray on and wipe off for better than new look. Then finish her with Lucas Slick Mist Interior Detailer. Just spray and wipe. Easy. Use Lucas Slick Mist Car Care products and she'll never look better. Fast, easy, and professional. Really, it's sort of like having an extra set of hands. Or 3.
This is Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's not like other videos. It's 1 1/4 miles long, and no 4 turns are the same. One wrong move, and it can bite you. It's not your normal racetrack. Some racers love it. Some hate it. Champions respect it. June 14th and 15th is not just Father's Day weekend. It's the Bommarito Automotive Group 500.